On this episode of Snake Eater Garage, we got the Pinzgauer we're working on right now. And it's in Texas. God bless Texas.
So this is a Pinzgauer Steyr Puch. That's what they're called. This is a model 712M, which means it's a hard top. There's a soft top that's a K variant. The 712 means it's 6-wheel drive. The 710 is 4-wheel drive. There's no 6th wheel. So check our problem out down here. And you might be thinking, why are you letting it run with that bad of an oil leak? Well, it's about 8 quarts too full right now. On the dipstick, it's literally this far over full. Dude, it's like up to here. It really is. Like, okay, so check this out. This is the oil line. This is the max fill line. This is the minimum fill line. So you're supposed to be here, between here and here. You're up here. Check oil on these hot running because these are a dry sump system. So here's your air cleaner box. See how much oil came out of it just from, I was showing it to the customer here. It's fine if it loses a little bit of oil. You could see how much it's rebreathing into its own intake. The Pinzgauer Steyr Puch, 6-wheel drive, portal axles, tubular chassis. So this is a tubular backbone chassis. So basically everything here down is tubular. It has an enclosed drive shaft. They're portal axles, so it has massive ground clearance. It's a 24-volt electrical system. It's an air-cooled 2.5-liter inline-4 engine with dual Zenith 36 carburetors. It's air-cooled with a ducted fan system. This thing is meant for low-speed, high-angle work. This is a Swiss mountain vehicle, right? So it's Austrian and Swiss, like, kind of made. You got to think of this thing less as like a normal off-road vehicle and more as there's a Swiss mechanical watch in here. There's brass and bronze gears, so the gear oil choice is paramount. Because if you put an incorrect gear oil in here that has too high of acidity or the pH is off or whatever, you can damage and corrode those gears. They need to be resealed. There's a lot of oil cavities and there's a lot of seals in them. They need to stay sealed, obviously. These ones are luckily holding oil right now. Either that or they're completely dry. But right now they're holding oil, which is good because that's the big expense on rebuilding these little guys. But overall, it's just a neat, quirky little vehicle. Look at that lamp. A little map light back there. Looks like he's had a speaker system added to it. Oh, he's got the sub, dude. A Rockford Fosgate back here. I like it. I like it. Really neat little vehicle. Really pretty happy to be able to work on it. You know, struggle as a mechanic shop business owner when cars need a lot of work. That's actually technically a good thing for us. But that's also a really hard phone call to make. And luckily, this one's not going to be one of those phone calls. This car, the parts are relatively affordable for, given that there was probably a lot of these made and there's probably a lot of them still on the road because they're well built and there's a huge community, you know, like a following around these things. You can buy like that whole brand new air cleaner for $180. I did not think that was too bad at all. You can get a short block that's rebuildable and ready to be rebuilt for $850, and you can get a full Swiss Army rebuilt complete drivetrain or engine and trans for this thing, $6,500. Did not think that was that bad given the complexity, the rarity, and the fact that it's a European vehicle. They just generally cost more. So the way we kind of came across this is, you know, this customer in this vehicle. Customer called the shop and said, hey, this is what I have. I'm looking for somebody to kind of take a look at a couple issues that I'm having. Just had an oil change done on it. Now all of a sudden it's smoking really bad. It's backfiring under certain conditions. It's just generally not running right, smoking a ton. One of the most common reasons for a sudden like excessive smoke, especially after an oil change with these, is an overfilled dry sump tank. If you don't check the oil hot and running and you instead fill it cold, you can overfill the system, and then what you get, oil being fed back through. They don't have like a true PCV system, so I don't want to call it that, but basically it feeds oil back through the oil mist back through the air breather in a PCV style fashion. Here's a telltale sign right here. See the top of that carburetor? Right here, right there. So see that puddle of oil? That's because it's coming down through here. Now your air box is normally mounted right here. Knew that that was gonna be a part of the problem. If you just take this thing to a regular oil change shop or a mechanic shop, you know, the average tech is gonna top this thing off like a small block Chevy or something. You know, he's gonna fill it to the oil fill line while it's cold and whatnot. And then through oil expansion and all the things that change when this thing gets hot and running, it becomes over full. And that's what we're seeing right now. It is significantly over full. Dead giveaway there. All the immense amount of oil in the intake system. Leak here is from that guy. The reason it's so prolific may be because it's overfilled. We'll see, but that gasket's for sure gonna need to get changed. And then if you see all this down here, that is going to have a little bit to do with your ducted fan cooling system here. So these are really crucial to this thing. They call this the tin. And so if you don't have your tin right on these, they'll overheat and they'll run like crap because they're getting too hot. This one's in all good shape, but you've got pretty intense amount of airflow kind of going across right here. So if you do get any oil behind that fan, jet fired through the transmission tunnel right here. I'm guessing that's why it's so bad. And also he's driven it a couple of times. There's a few other small things that we noticed, like the choke here. It goes up and it stays up like it should, but then it doesn't want to go back down. Phil was having to move it by hand there, so that's going to cause another little bit of his rough running issue as he's driving around with the choke on, because he pushes it down after he fires it up, but then it slowly kind of creeps its way back up on you, and if you're not paying attention, which it's hard to do because your leg goes over that. You don't have a ton of room here. Your leg is generally about like this. You may not notice that coming up. I love these kind of jobs. Fun little car, and hopefully it's not going to absolutely obliterate the customer's bank account to get it running right. And that's always kind of the best case scenario, instead of having to break the bad news that somebody needs an engine rebuilt or whatever. We'll have to clean this all off and then watch it again, but loose clamps here, they might just need to be replaced because it looks like they're bottomed out, but they're still pretty loose. You can see the amount of oil, and the leak is right there on that rocker cover for cylinder number 4 right here. But this is what's pretty neat about it. So you see the portal axles down here, so that's your gear reduction, and then you've got the enclosed drive shaft, which is partially structural in these cars, but it protects the drive shaft. So when you're doing, you know, heavy off-roading in the mountains, this thing, you don't got to worry about dragging it quite so much. This is some form of a little heater exhaust. I'm guessing this thing, the heater on this might burn fuel, because you got a second little exhaust over here. I'm guessing the heater on this thing burns fuel, is gas powered, or maybe it has its own tank of like kerosene or diesel or something. For the old Volkswagens, used gasoline for the heater in the vehicle. They had a second line from the gas tank and they would burn gas to heat the vehicle. That could be this. I'm not an HVAC guy. Even on American cars, I don't know HVAC systems that well. You get into this, I might be a little bit lost. I'm gonna have to pull the manuals out on this thing. So this has a ZF 5-speed in it. ZF makes like the 8 HP, the ZF5 that came in your old Power Stroke. Obviously not the same ZF5. This one's not a, you know, American 3/4 ton truck, but it's same manufacturer, same gear count. You can see a little bit of leaking at the portals here, but I would be less concerned about this seal here versus these seals down here, because these are going to contain more oil. So like this one here, and the fact that it's leaking up here tells me that there's at least enough fluid to reach up here. You don't see it leaking out the bottom here. So I did a parts and labor estimate, like just in my research on if these things ever did need resealed, and it gets really expensive. They're about $1,000 a piece, and that's the parts, and then you have to fully disassemble these things, and there's multiple seals that have to be taken apart, and it's one of those things that you don't just do one at a time, because by the time you get the portal off, it's like that's the bulk of it. You may as well do them all at once. See these acorn nuts right here? The reason you would use those is because if you ever drag an acorn nut across a rock, you're not damaging the threads below it. Your lowest driveline hardware, acorn nuts, protects the threads. I'm curious what the lift points on this thing would be. I don't think you could put this on a traditional 4-post lift. You got to drive it on. There's no way. The distributor's what?
Stuck. I mean, it's stuck. Like someone cross-threaded this bolt in here.
Okay.
So I'm taking my time and just working it back.
I think those things sketch me out, dude.
I'm taking the rest of the day off, Brad.
You can take more than that off, dude. Your only hope is belt slip.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the little timing pointer right there, dude.
Yeah.
That's sick. So these 6 to 10 base, 30 total, if you check it with the timing light. Oh, check this out real quick. So
It's your 4-wheel drive.
yeah, your 4-wheel drive stuff. So you can lock the front and the rear individually. The rear and the front rear and the front. Because you got 6. So that's pretty neat. Check out the word for choke. Starthilfe.
Oh yeah, it's a Starthilfe, yeah.
I think it means start help. Let's see what Starthilfe. Starting aid. There you go.
Oh yeah, the Starthilfe.
So, yeah. You must use the Starthilfe.
Oh yeah, you must use the Starthilfe.
It's like the worst German accent. You know.
You got a clamp that goes around it, and then it bolts right there. This is cross-threaded, so I'm taking my time getting it out. So I'm just letting it soak and pulling it out.
This thing's a little dual carburetor setup. Probably more for redundancy than the fact that it needs it. It's not a super high performance engine by any means. The carburetors are pretty big. I would imagine they can each run this engine by itself. The Zenith 36, usually 36 is the venturi diameter on the carburetor. With it being a 4-cylinder, that's equivalent to like on a Volkswagen having like a 72 millimeter Weber or something like that. It's big. So this thing, they're probably capable of running the engine by themselves. That sounds good. I mean, this thing, look at this. I mean, you can sit here and touch this motor. That sounded a hell of a lot better than it was. This thing's just been sitting here idling. And for an air-cooled engine, you usually expect really high cylinder head temps. This thing runs impressively cool.
Give it about 20 seconds.
Don't even need the Starthilfe. That's American excellence right there, baby. They didn't even come up with their own word, they just added on to it.
All right, rev it up a couple times. Need to fix the spring on there, it's a little worn out.
Yeah, it's not quite coming all the way back. Will you hand me one of those flashlights? I'm having to
Should be on that cam.
push it.
Cam for the throttle. Butterflies aren't shutting all the way right now.
This might be a slight design issue here. We'll have to take it off and see, but it doesn't seem to have a tang or anything to keep it clocked correctly.
Yeah.
And so if that bolt is loose, it can move. Maybe just need a little more spring tension on the deal here. Carbs look good though, nothing leaking. They look just like a Weber.
You want to spray that choke lever a couple times, see if it loosens up. I don't trust that mechanic. You don't know his ass from a hole in the wall.
I've seen everything I need to see in the last 15 seconds. I would never have you work on my vehicle. So.
Yeah, you're a dumbass.
You'll kill it if you pull it all the way out. It will die. So it's working good.
It just mount it somewhere.
I mean, these being plastic aren't my favorite thing here. You know, all these little time joints, I'll call them, they're snap-on. If I was trying to build this thing out to be a real survival rig, I'd probably swap those out to something that's metal, just so you don't have, you don't lose throttle. Okay.
Voila!
Left blinker, right blinker. If you double click the right blinker, it's hazards. That's also high beams. It's a pretty neat little multi-function switch. We'll get a parts list together. Seems like she's running pretty good.
No diesel. Ha! Ha! You don't know what you're doing!
Just building a huge puddle under here.
Like I said, it keeps on draining like that. BP's
Yeah,
gonna
that's a
be
good
coming
one.
after us. speedo says we're doing 15 kilometers an hour. Where's the freedom units? There, front diff. Woo! That'd be annoying. Really not that bad.
Oh, that's good.
It's in the carburetors. Messed with the timing a little bit. Adjusting the timing was fun on this thing because the distributor was seized in its hole. So I had to take a mallet and an extension and PB blast, soak it, gently tap it to where I wanted it. Because there ain't no way that thing's coming out. The thing was too full of oil, so dumped everything out and refilled it with oil. It's like 4 quarts too full or something like that. Man, this shit sucks. Need a small block of chippy. For you to do that, guess what all needs to come out? The whole drivetrain. Because nothing will adapt to that. Yeah, I fixed the valve cover gasket. 2 gaskets on it. They double gasketed it. There's first. There. It's a learning curve, okay? The shifter's not the greatest in the world. Yeah, and I'm floored. Floored right now, 46 mile an hour. Oh, going up the hill, probably have to downshift. Yeah, I bet you anything, I'd tape $100 bill on that dash. You can't grab it when I floor it. Oh, I need to go in the lower gear. Let's have you do this. Yes, 48 miles an hour. Just slow. These things are not meant to go on the highway and stuff like that. It's kind of like, just think of it like a Humvee. If you got 55 miles an hour out of a Humvee, that's blistering fast for those things. Going up a hill, you have to downshift. Now you go downhill, you're like, woo! Here. See? You're probably going to have to open it up. Let me see. Yeah, you're going to have to open it up for me.